Hello! Oh, need to get rid of that reactive. Oop. We're doubled up on Morgans for a minute there. How's everyone doing? Had a good Saturday.
It was a much-needed Saturday with a bit of a hurricane flying through here.
Oh, I wouldn't mind one of them at the moment. It is weltering.
We got a week's worth of rain come down, so it was definitely much worth it. Hey, Witchy. Witchy is from my community.
Hi. I sort of remember you, I think. Or have seen you around. How you doing? So, we have what should be a very fun one today, right? Visual novel. Yeah. Visual novel, Irish, Scottish, and a little bit of Brythonic myth it looked like in there. So
this is actually pure Irish.
Is it? Some of the names of the characters I saw had the backwards accent mark, and that usually means Scottish. So I think they have a little bit of Scottish in there.
Yeah, the downward tone, while Irish Gaelic is the upward tone.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this takes place in Ireland. This takes place in Ireland in 1845. I'll let you put two and two together.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yep, that's a fun time.
Indeed.
On Gorta Moor and all of that. Alrighty.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Also, something if you want to see real quick, click glossary.
Glossary. I will as soon as I've lost my own cursor, but I can see it on my screen.
I can see it on stream.
Yeah, on stream I can see it, but not on my actual one. If I click in, oh. Huh.
I'm a bit soft. Hold on. Let me...
I will bump you up, actually. I think you might be a little soft on Discord for me.
Okay. I'm looking at my model up close. I can't wait for my new model to be done.
Same here. It's going to be a good bit longer for me. I'm looking forward to your one. All right. Try speaking again there. I think you should be good.
Testing now. Testing now.
Okay, I might have put you up a little too much. Okay, try again.
Testing now. Testing now.
Yeah. How's that? That seems good for me, and for me anyway. Oh, I've got my... Oh, nope, don't have my cursor back.
It is so weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I don't see it up... So here's the fun thing. I don't see it on my stream now, but I see it on my screen.
Is it because... Oh, you see it on your actual screen now,
yeah.
So that should be fine.
It should be fine. I'm gonna see if just popping it back to...
I wonder if it's because it's
full screen is what I'm thinking.
You're doing screen capture and not game capture.
Yeah, that would be it. It didn't seem to like game capture. I might try to pop it into full screen. Try game capture again. No, it doesn't like that. So I'm going to pop it out of full screen because it looks fine for me and I can see my cursor on both. So we're good.
Yeah, that's good.
This isn't the kind of game where you really need proper full screen.
Yeah.
All right, new game. The Good People, Daoine, Mhaithe, the Book of the Traveler. The following chronicle seeks to recount the events preceding the Aranoc's interference with the affairs of the legendary Tuatha Dé Danann, more contemporarily known as Daoine Mhaithe.
If you click on those, actually,
we get extra information. and pronunciation. Oh wait, do we get
Aranoch?
Leinster dialect, okay. So Ireland roughly has 3 broad dialects. You can technically break it down into multiple ones per county, but for the basics, 3 dialects. And those are Ulster, Munster, and Connacht dialects. So Leinster...
If I remember correct, it's Eru, Bolad, and Fala. The 3 goddesses where the 3 dialects get their names from, if I remember correct. They were married to the 3 kings of Ireland, correct?
You could be entirely right about that. I'm not sure. A lot of my knowledge of Irish language specifically is modern Irish.
Yeah.
So the 3 dialects in this case are
I was thinking of the 3 by names. Sorry about that.
You might have been thinking of that, yeah. So the 3 dialects are just named for the
the major counties and stuff.
It's not counties. What's the word? Provinces.
Provinces.
There's 4 provinces in Ireland: Ulster, Munster, Leinster, and Connacht. Leinster is the one that I'm in, and that's not doxing because Leinster is the one that everyone is in, because that's the one that has Dublin.
I'm trying to remember. County Cork.
Would be... No, that's not. That's Connacht. Is that Connacht or Munster? Shit. People will know I don't know my geography. Hold on.
Munster.
Is it Munster?
Yeah, so that's where my family is from.
Fuck.
No, you had it before.
Yeah, but I should really just know this off by hand. There's only 4 of them.
That's all fine.
I mean, I can't name all 32 counties anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so, yeah, Aranach, an Irish person. Yeah, term is gender neutral. It is, yeah. The word itself might have a gender, but the thing about genders in Irish language is that it's kind of nonsense. Like, words are gendered in the same way that bees are gendered, in that they're not at all, but we still put them there anyway. I mean, if I was gonna guess, I would say Aranach is a female word. What I should really do is have a separate thing open showing every time I'm looking up a word in the dictionary.
Let's see. Used for either male or female persons, but declined as a first declination. Masculine noun either way.
Masculine. All right. It usually has to do with the vowels. So,
I mean, obviously, we have the goddess Eru in the beginning of it.
Which I suppose may technically mean... No, actually, Era itself, I think, is a female word. And then Aranach, I guess, is male. It's because of the A, I think. Ireland genders stuff based on what vowels it has. So E and I are slender. A, O, and U are broad.
Gotcha.
Usually. I think. Anyway. Interference with the affairs of the legendary Tuatha Dé Danann.
Tuatha Dé Danann.
Yeah.
So glad they got that right. I hear so many people say Tuatha Dé Danann, and I'm like, no, that's not correct.
Tuatha Dé Danann.
Oh my god, the hard T.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm like, please stop.
Oh, sorry. The thing I was gonna say was just that they have Leinster dialect, which is interesting because that's not technically one of the dialects, but it is my dialect. It's like an unofficial 4th one that's just kind of like if you grew up roughly around Leinster and all of your teachers spoke the proper dialects, you've got some sort of horrible mishmash of Munster and Connacht dialect. Ulster is its own entire beast. Like, that's closer to Scots Gaelic than anything. So, we begin in 1845. I've skipped ahead. Ignore that. And we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Begin in 1845 during the initial onset of An Druchhill, or An Gorta Mór. So Druchhill is bad life, Gorta Mór is the great hunger.
Yeah, I recognize the word more.
Mm.
Big,
Mm-hmm.
great, mainly because it's a Phalamore, great kilt,
Mm.
which is exactly what
And
I'm wearing.
Claymore,
Yep,
big sword.
yep. Claydamore, yep.
Yep,
Andruch Hale.
Druchhill.
I love how they get the like bit of accent correct.
Mm-hmm. A bit of the it's not bloss. There's a word for how we pronounce the CH, the very ch. It's like the taste of it or something. Gorta Mór.
An Gorta Mór.
An era of Irish history besieged by unparalleled tragedy. For most, the severity of what was to come could not yet be known, but to the labourers, any poor harvest meant a long and hungry winter. Proper preparation was vital, and so it was thus that the aeronauts set out to the port city of Galway one fateful mid-September morning, ready to pawn off an assortment of family heirlooms and other disposable valuables. It was the only way to ensure survival.
Now it's a very like soft and friendly way to put it. There was probably no way of ensuring survival during this time period. For anyone who's listening in, this is the potato famine.
Yeah, this is the Great Irish Potato Famine of the 1840s. The thing that is it even? No, it's not decimated, because decimated would be better than what happened to us. Our population went from 8 million people, and I think the lowest it hit was 2 afterwards. Yeah, moment you said the time period. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it was this, and actually it was my, let's see, great grandfather who they came over to Maine in 1847.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they came over to the U.S.
Yeah, around
So
1847 is, I think, roughly when everybody started emigrating. There's a song, The City of Chicago, and it begins with 1847 was the year it all began. Deadly pangs of hunger drove 1 million from the land.
Mm-hmm.
Learned that one in school. This journey, however, would be far longer and far stranger than anyone would ever have otherwise anticipated. Now, with, 20 minutes of preamble out of the way? On Taranok, Dir na Nog. Yeah. I apologize in advance. It's going to be a lot of this.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We might need to do a follow-up collab.
Yeah. If this game could be about 20 minutes long, it's going to take like a couple hours. There's a dull ache in my belly, a hollow pang that's been nagging at me to eat the wee morsel Mam gave me this morning. Prata Biaga one small potato, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Prata Biaga
Okay, one more. So, counting in Irish, right? Ein, do, tri, cahir, cuig, she, shocked, ucht, ni, de. But that's only if you're like... Go on, yeah.
I have not gotten that far in Duolingo yet. Although I'm studying Scots Gaelic at the moment, which is basically the same thing, it's just we sound more depressed.
Scots Gaelic is Goth Irish. It is classic Irish.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the fun things about Scots Gaelic is that it is a newer language than Irish. It developed from Ulster Gaelic.
Yes.
But
with the Dalriatans, the Scoti.
Yeah. But Scots Gaelic did not go through a language and spelling reform like Irish did. So it retains a whole bunch of the old features of Irish that modern Irish Gaeilge doesn't have anymore. So that's...
I like that.
Yeah. That's nothing to do with the numbers. So, yeah, counting up is what I said earlier, but when you have to count things, it's different. So, counting up, counting things, counting people are all different.
Yeah.
So, a one is 1, and you usually put it at the end of whatever it is you're counting. Otherwise, counting stuff, you'd put it on the other end.
Okay.
So it'd be like, yeah, Prata Biug Awan. Ga Prata Biug is 2 small potatoes. Well, Ga Prati Biug, because there's 2 of them. Anyway. God, this is going to take for fucking ever. I ignore it again, but not without effort. My last proper meal had to have been last night's supper, but I know I can get on by on a rumbling stomach a little while longer still. There'll be time to eat when my errand's over and done with, and that should be soon. I hope. It's been a long and tiresome day's ride, but I'm determined to reach Galway before the sun hangs high. There's no sense in wasting what little money I have on lodgings if I can go about my business right as the shops open and be on my way by midday. But traveling the road at night's a dangerous business, Mhaithe. Let alone with all these treasures in your saddlebag. You ought to pace yourself. Lots of desperate folk out there, especially now. My child, Mhaithe.
Mhaithe.
Aye, but I'm just as likely to be robbed in the common lodgings as I am on the road, they told me daft, firm and final. Though, if I'm honest, I'm not too sure how well these old things will sell. None of it's terribly fancy by city standards. Mama's doilies, our Sunday clothes, a bit of jewelry Mam's worn ever since her wedding day. Like Grandma, I think? Yeah, Granny.
Granny, okay.
Yeah. Shanwaher is like grandmother, and then, cute familial name, Momo.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the kind of thing to buy when times are tough, and from what I've heard, the disease on our crops hasn't affected us. It's all over, this is. Hasn't just affected us. I shake my head. There's bound to be some wealthy folk willing to take these trinkets off our hands. Even if not for much. Nothing else, it should get that bastard of a landlord off our backs for a while. I will refrain from getting too political about the Great Famine, unless it comes up in the... Moving on.
Yes. Eat the rich.
Eat the rich. The roads have been quiet. It's almost unsettling for this time of year. Of course, it's no surprise that I haven't seen other travelers these past couple hours, but even earlier today, only a few folks crossed my path. Families... Oh! Magus Bunny Mom, thank you for the follow. Hello.
Hey, Magus, glad to see you drop in.
Hello. How's yourself? We are dying of hunger and attempting to sell off all of our possessions. I'm sure it'll get better from here, though. Families mostly, all bundled up and carrying what scarce few belongings their backs could manage, all slowly headed in the same direction as I. Now it's just me. Me and a dark thicket to my right, and the river to my left. I gulp and eye the woods from time to time. A wall of trees line the roadside, swallowing up any light to be found in this moonless night. It makes me nervous, so I keep to the left as much as I can and spur my horse to quicken her pace. Huff! Whoa, steady now. Darby, my family's workhorse, slows to a restless halt in the middle of the road. I sigh, continuing to prod her, but she refuses to move 1 inch farther. Horse might know something's up. I had to sell you off, you stubborn old... I'm getting close. Just over yonder I can see the beginning of the city's silhouette on the horizon. It'll take me a few more hours to get there still. Alright. I suppose we can rest for a short while. A very short while, you hear? Nay. Nay. Affirmative in horse.
What does the dialect
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
say?
Nay.
Nay. That's very good. I love that. I dismount and lead Darby off the road and down to the riverside for a drink. As she wades into the water, I linger back on the shore and stretch my aching limbs, not willing to get my feet wet to keep a hold of the reins. Thank God they did that, because I can't whistle, so... My shoulders tense as I spin around to look down both ends of the road, searching for the source of the whistle I just heard. Eh? Someone out there? No one answers me, nor do I see anyone in the darkness. I clench my jaw, peering back over over my shoulder at Darby. She seems entirely undisturbed, yet too far for me to grab in a hurry. Well, not that she would go anywhere in a hurry either. I sigh and rub the bridge of my nose. Her ears are better than mine. It might have been nothing. Crunch, crunch.
All the crunching.
Crunch, crunch. I lift my head from my face and glare right across from me into the trees. I didn't see anything move, but I heard something. I'm certain of it. Investigate!
Yes, why not?
Yeah! Follow the mysterious noise! Quickly... Oh, wait. Nope, can't see anything. Quickly search the ground for something to defend myself with, but only manage to eye a flimsy-looking branch in the grass. What could possibly go wrong? Exactly!
So there is an old saying up in the Appalachia region where a lot of the Scottish folk immigrated to, including my family. If you're out in the mountains and you hear someone whistle, do not whistle back. You turn around and leave. And I can only imagine that is very much like connected to an old fairy folk belief.
There are a lot of things that you need to remember to not get fucked up by fairies. I have forgotten most of them. I'm just lucky.
I do not step in fairy circles.
Don't cross fields at night is another one.
Don't sit underneath a lone tree in the middle of a field.
Oh yeah, definitely don't do that one. Don't fall asleep under a lone tree in the middle of a field. With a grimace, I grab it and make my way across the road. It's no weapon, but maybe enough to scare off a wild animal. As for a person... Well, I'll be less lucky if it's a person, but old Darby's a willful beast and not terribly bright. Got no choice but to confront the thing, whatever or whomever it is. The thicket is as dense as it is dark, even more intimidating up close. Carefully, I hold the branch out in front of me and prod at the underbrush, pulling the foliage back to stare into the trees for any sign. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Jump back and nearly trip as a little bird flies out from the woods and rushes past my face, close enough to feel the brush of its wings. My shoulders slump and I breathe out a sigh of relief. Only an animal after all, I think, chuckling to myself as I turn around. Yep, just an animal. Not a hot boy at all. My jaw hangs slack as I finally spot the hooded person on the other side of the road, who somehow crept past me and now stands ready to hoist themselves right onto the back of my dim-witted mare. Horse thief! Hey, what are you doing? Get away from there!
Could be worse. It could be stealing cattle.
Yeah. We'd have to go on a whole cattle raid. The stranger refuses to regard me even as I charge towards them. Unfortunately, I'm too slow. By the time I reach the thieving bastard, they've already swung onto Darby's saddle. Rikatapa. Run fast.
Rikatapi.
Alright, well, Toppy, yeah. Stranger swats Darby's rear and spooks the mare into a frenzied gallop out of the river and into, of all things, the woods. I'm baffled. I don't know if the thief intended to go off-road or if poor, panicked Darby forced the thief's hand, but I don't have time to question it. Winding hanks of yarn into balls for... Oh, fun!
Witchy is making me a hat.
Oh, nice!
I bought I bought her alpaca yarn.
Oh,
And she said she'd wear a
alpaca.
hat.
Nice. Like a little beanie type of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would
Wearing
be
it for my
nice.
trip to Scotland in October for Samhain.
Nice. Perfect. Stealing my resolve, I run into the woods and chase after the thief on foot. The chances of catching up are slim, but I have to try. I have to. Journey back is far too long to be sensible without a ride, let alone without money, without food. Even if I pressed on and made it home regardless, what would I say to my family when I arrive? I lost the horse. Oh yeah, and all the valuables are on the horse as well. Oh, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I lost our money, our valuables, even our horse. We'd be fucked. Jaw clenched, I run as fast as my legs will take me, bolting through the trees, barely able to see more than 10 feet ahead of me, with only a path of snapped branches to guide my way. Luckily for me, the thief seems to be riding straight through the woods. Had they instead decided to veer in another direction, I'm sure I'd lose them for good. It is odd, though. I can't imagine why the thief would choose to push further in. Would it not make more sense to simply keep on to Galway, where all those things would sell? After a while, I lose track of how long I've been running. All I know is I need to keep moving no matter how tired I am or how my gut turns and growls. Fortunately, just as soon as I begin to fear that I'll never see the end of these woods, the trees began to thin out. Into a clearing. To a glade. Pause for a moment to catch my breath, but the strangeness of the place does not escape me. At first glance, I think that I must have gotten turned around and returned to the riverside, but the longer I look, I can see that this body of water is not a river at all. It's a small lake, surrounded on all sides by tall, jagged stones. I move closer on impulse and feel the heat from the water rising up on pillars of steam. The surface also bubbles like a simmering stew, and if my eyes aren't deceiving me, the water looks red. That can't be good. Kade on Devil. What's all this? What the devil? Basically. Yeah.
Cade on Devil.
But, of course, I'm talking to the air. No one else is here. No one else is here. So, who was horse? Shite. My heart pounds as I spin around and search the ground for Darby's tracks. Can't afford to get distracted like this. The longer I linger here, the farther the thief gets. Thankfully, it doesn't take me long to find a fresh pair of muddy prints. Came out of the trees, in near the same spot I did, then halt abruptly, slowing to circle into a different direction. With haste, I go to follow the new trail, expecting it to wind back to the woods. But it doesn't. I stare down, beyond perplexed, as Darby's hooves stop short by the lake's edge. For a moment, I considered the possibility that the thief purposefully waded into the lake to throw me off, but the longer I look into the water, I realize it's too deep. There's no gradual decline. It's a steep drop, dark, murky, and without end. If the thief did steer Darby into the water, they would have... Deep breath. Oh, I guess we're going for a swim.
I'm certain we'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. Loch Bell Dragon. Actually, I'm not sure about that one. Hold on. Loch Bell Dragon. The Dragon's Mouth. A waypoint between worlds.
Loch Bell Dragon.
Sure. Yeah, okay. I wonder if there's a grammatical reason that Bell is spelled that way. There's usually an A in it.
Let's see. It's called Loch Bell. So once hence it is called Loch Bell Said. The Lake of the Jewel Mouth was also called Loch de Bell Dragon. The Dragon Mouth back. And that is in... Where is that? University of College Cork.
Ah. Cork. We ran all the way from Galway to Cork. Fucking hell. Good for him.
Oh no, I was just trying to find where the actual location was. Gotcha. Sorry about that.
Shid, SIOD?
SEOD.
Oh,
Shid.
that might be Jewel.
Yeah, well, that's its new
New
see.
name?
Yes.
I'm actually realizing I forgot to bring up a drink for this. So
It is showing Donegal.
Donegal.
Erdogal County Donegal.
Donegal.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, well still running from Galway to Donegal that's a decent trek.
It is Galway.
Galway's sort of the west coast-ish.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, oh, holy shit. Yeah. No, that is a long distance. That is a long distance.
Yeah, on foot that's a couple of days.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's some portally ferry bullshit going on there. I'm gonna quickly run and grab a drink. I will be back in like 2 seconds. Because this is a lot of reading.
It is a lot of reading. And I will keep everyone company. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing good. And there should be relief for him once he gets back, because there will be some voice acting. But yeah, this is the updated version of the demo. Hopefully we get the first version of the game very soon. The people are doing an amazing job. A little bit of a drink myself. Ah. Ooh, and one of the artists that I was waiting for their requests to open up has opened up.
I realize, of course, I muted myself on Discord, not on my stream.
Well, you did not say anything on stream.
Yep, but still. Okay, so, Loch Bael Dragon is one of the many, yet few, waypoints between Tir na Nog and Inish Fall. Tir na Nog, everyone knows, Land of Youth.
Mm-hmm.
Tir na Nog.
Inish Fall, you don't hear a lot about, but it'd be like Destiny Island.
It's the Ireland we know today.
Yeah.
The mortal realm.
The mortal realm. So, actually, Fall, while we're at it, Fall Destiny, there's a number of treasures that the Tuatha Danann brought from was it Hibrasil? I think it was their home anyway.
The Four Kingdoms, yes.
Yeah, the Four Kingdoms. One of them is the... Hold on.
The Leah Fall.
Leah Fall, that's it. I always
Stone of
forget it.
Destiny.
Yeah, I always forget it because Leah is gray rather than the modern word for stone, so I never remember that. I keep trying to call it like... hold on. Like Clucka Fall? But no. Yeah, Leah Fall, the Stone of Destiny, which is... It sort of functions like Ireland's Sword in the Stone. It's said that the true king of Ireland, when he touches the stone, it will sing and mark him as the true king. And, fun fact, it's an actual thing you can go visit.
In the Hill of Tara.
Yeah, the High King area. Not sure we've heard any singing from it recently, but, you know, if you're ever in Ireland, go give it a go. It stands unique for its relative ease of access and longevity, yet similar to other waypoints of its kind, the threshold remains closed as to prevent accidental or wayward travelers. Very practical. Unless, of course, it has been deliberately opened. Current progress save, continue next chapter.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize when you mouse over it translates it. Unreadery gloss. The Green Knight. Is that the word for knight? Because I would have guessed that's the word for rider. Folklore, come to my aid again. Knight is readery. Okay.
If gloss is green, then I'm wondering what the term gallogloss, what that is in terms of, or is that a different usage of gloss? Although I think that's two S's, not a single.
Well, it's two S's in English, I think. But I think that is green as well. The Gaul part of Galloglass? It might be like Gaul Oglas. Because Gaul is foreigner.
Yes. These were the Scottish mercenaries who fought in Ireland.
Yeah.
During the medieval period. They're the ones when there was, after the Viking invasions, when the Western Island Scots started intermixing with the new Norse, you started getting a very hardy individuals. And when they went over to fight in Ireland, they were known as Galloglass or Galloglais.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Galloglais or Gallogli.
Gotcha.
Gall Oglok, basically, is...
Yes.
So, Oglok is a fighter or a warrior. And then Gall is foreign. So it's just foreign fighter, foreign warrior.
Mercenary, yeah.
Yeah.
To where they were so valued that actually it was recorded that one king paid a bride price of 400 mercenaries for her hand.
They had very cool swords.
They did. I loved their swords, and their battle axes were awesome too.
The ring hilts, man, I want a long sword with the ring pommel. I love the ring pommels. I know exactly where to get one as well. It'll be mine eventually.
Yep.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation. We're shocked.
Splush. After flailing in the water for God knows how long, I finally find the surface again and drag myself onto the lakeshore. Take several ragged breaths before my vision clears. Did that cheeky bastard try to drown me? Look around to see if I can work out which direction the thief went, but nothing looks familiar. Well, clearly we were just dragged further down the river. If we just go back up, I'm sure we'll find where we were. No, it's more than that. This isn't the same lake I fell into, nor even the same grove. The ruddy water is now bright and clear and adorned with lily pads. The familiar oak and ash trees are gone, replaced with mossy, gnarled willows and yews. The roots run so deep that they cascade into the lake, and everywhere I step is bursting with wild flowers. The forest is so overgrown that the treetops almost block out the sunlight that's suddenly sprung up on the horizon. But despite the abundant shade, I'm perfectly warm. There's a slight breeze, but it's as soft as a kiss, spring-like. And awfully unusual for September. What is this? Glancing back at the lake, the water is still, without a trace of my unexpected swim. Christ almighty, am I dead? Pinch my arm and wince. I can still feel, but what if that's just my mind playing tricks on me? Maybe I hit my head in the lake and I feel a wave of panic wash over me as I think of my family waiting anxiously at home. They never wanted me to come here. They told me it was too dangerous. What have I gotten myself into? Robbed and drowned by the roadside. Mom, ma'am, I'm so sorry. The sound of an approaching horse snaps me out of my thoughts. My heart skips a beat for half a moment, daring to think it might be Darby, but then...
Who's out there? In the name of the Queen, I order you to show yourself.
Make me. I scowl a bit. What's the damn Sassenach doing out this way?
I know that word.
You know that word.
Yep, I do. I watched Outlander.
Englishman, often disparagingly.
Sassenach.
No shit. Sassenach.
It comes from Saxon, I believe.
I could believe that.
So, the Irish word for English is berla, but that's not technically true. Berla is kind of a generic term for language. It's become the word for English in modern Irish, but the correct term is something more like Saxberla, or Saxon language. So yeah, Sassenach. That's a good one to remember.
What is Scots? Scot, like Scottish in Irish.
Well, Scotland is Alban, or Alba.
Is Alba, yeah. Alba Gabra.
What? Hold on. What is the Irish word for Scots Gaelic? Scots Gaelic is... Alright, Gaelga na Halban. So...
Yep, I can hear that.
The Irish of Scotland. Or sometimes we do just use the Scottish word for it, which is Gaelic.
Gaelig.
Gaelic, yeah. G-A-F-A-D-H-L-I-G. With the fada going the opposite direction. Coffee Gure Freenatia. This must be hell.
Caifi gur ifrenéisio.
Sure, yeah, okay. Kaifi. He is correct. I want everyone to know that whenever I look at the translations for it and have him read it out, he is correct. I am wrong. Moving as silently as possible, I shield myself behind a thick yew and watch for glimpses of the stranger or their horse. Up ahead, beyond the twisting limbs of this forest, I see traces of a dirt road. Darting between the trees, I advance closer, angling for a better vantage point. As I reach the tree line, I pause. The strangers come into view, like I'd hoped, and now I can start making out some details. A pink sash peeks out from the foliage, which appears to be draped across some kind of cloth armor. I squint. Is that a spear? What's the military doing roaming around with spears? Yeah, because keep in mind, this is the 1800s. We do have guns at this point.
Oh, yeah.
They're quite short for a soldier, too. Aren't you a little short
Star
for
Wars
us?
reference. Yeah, you do it.
Eh. This is just getting odd. I slump against a tree. My wet clothes feel heavy, and my back is beginning to ache with tension. I can tell this stranger isn't my thief, and they look much like British. They don't look much like British military either. Maybe they could help me sort some things. They probably at least know where we are. Hide and watch.
Ask for help.
Aw. Too slow. We probably should have asked for help. My eyes linger for a moment on the spear they're carrying. Spearhead glints in the sunlight. Maybe I should find someone else to help me. Maybe I'm dead. Maybe I'm not. Either way, they seem like more trouble than it's worth. Unfortunately, though, I hesitate just a little too. That made our decision for us.
You!
Me!
Huh?
Oh, year Saval. Save me, Jeebus. Save me, God. Or, more poignantly, aren't you kidding me?
Dia Orsava.
Throwing myself behind a tree further, and I pray they didn't see where I went. All the shouting makes me think otherwise, though. Can hear their footsteps getting closer as they continue to call out to me. No use in your...
Wink.
Yep. No use in your hiding. Come out and we can do this the easy way. My stomach lurches as they get closer to my tree. If I could just peek around to see where they are. We've all been searching for you, and you've made a right mess of things. I pause mid-peek. Me? Why me? As they approach the tree, I try to time my footsteps with theirs and tiptoe around the trunk of the yew. Tilting my head around the thick trunk, I look for the stranger. I can't see them, and they stop talking. Where did they go? Aw, they're behind me, aren't they? No, I'm in front of you. Ahem. The sound comes from directly behind me. Flipping around wildly, I lash out reflexively and slap them. They catch my arm and grip it so tight I'm sure it'll bruise. Now that we're face to face, I see they're the oddest looking person I've ever met. Their tousled hair is a greenish-brown color, and strangely pointed ears peek out from underneath it. They don't even look entirely human, more like the creatures I heard about when I was a ween. We've got a swan brooch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I recognize that spear. We've got one of those in the History Museum.
They did a good job with their research for this game.
Mm-hmm. My gut sinks as the realization sets in. I'm not dead, but might as well be. I just tried to smack one of the she. She. People of the Mounds, more commonly known as fairies.
Ace, she.
Observant viewers may notice that the she part of this sounds an awful lot like the she in Banshee.
Mm-hmm. For those who are not familiar with the reason behind that term, when the Milesians made the deal with the Tuatha Dé Danann to who would rule over Ireland, the Tuatha Dé Danann chose to enter into the other world, which is most likely found through the mounds, such as Newgrange, which is the mound of the Dagda and Angus MacOg,
which I have been into a couple of times. It's cool in there.
I definitely want to get out there.
I definitely recommend it. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm. Go out there and also go to Unagash.
Because it's Banshee instead of exactly. Banshee, Banshee, is the English version of Banshee. It's the EAN. It means fairy woman. So
okay.
Technically, if there's more than one of them, I think it should be no, it's fine. Don't worry about the spelling. I think plural of them I would have said would be she, fairy women, but I could be wrong about that. You might pluralize the fairy part rather than the woman part. But yeah, Banshee, fairy woman. Still gripping my wrist, they speak in a quiet voice through gritted teeth.
Do you have any idea what you've done?
Literally none. Please explain. Before I can respond, they start dragging me back to their horse. I don't think they wanted me to explain. Wait! Please, wait, I didn't mean any offense. They don't even hear me over their own voice, which hasn't stopped berating me with questions all too fast for me to answer.
Where have you been? Do you have any clue how worried I was? What have you been eating? What are you doing here? Why are you all wet? Why do you look like you're starving?
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if we were like a changeling or something. I suppose we'll find out.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
Oh, spoilers!
I've been through the original demo. I don't know what the new things they added, but I ain't saying nothing.
After binding my wrists with some rope they had, they easily lift me onto the horse. Man, they are stronger than they look. My soul. Yeah, wow. Wow.
Manum.
But what's all this about where I've been? I just got here. Look down the path at them pleadingly and take note of a small swan emblem on their sash. Am I the only one that doesn't know what's going on? Wait, hold on now. You've got to listen to me. Whoever you think I am, you have the wrong person. Unfortunately, my words fall on deaf ears. To be honest, though, the more they shout at me, the less angry they sound. If anything, they're acting more like a concerned parent. Sighing heavily, I slump into the saddle, now acutely aware that I'm being kidnapped by a fairy. At least I get a break from walking now. That's the spirit. Come home safely, Ahashka. My treasure. I actually didn't know that one.
Ahashka.
Stick to the road and don't go astray. There's more than robbers out there to be mindful of. Ma'am, I'm not a child. You don't have to go on about those tales. Of course, dear. Just remember, don't give anyone your name, mind your manners, and don't eat anything you're offered. Very important. After some time, the fairy and I arrive at an ancient-looking stone structure. The area is still and quiet. We're obviously the only ones here, save the wildlife, I suppose. Foliage blossoms all around us, filling the air with the sweet scent of wild flowers. The fairy silently helps me off the horse. They stopped yelling a while ago, so we were forced to travel in sullen silence. As they lead their mare to the stables, I awkwardly fiddle at the rope around my wrists, but it's no use. It's too damn tight to wriggle out of. I take in my surroundings and spot a flourishing fruit and vegetable garden off to the side. Huge strawberries rise out of the garden bed and spill over onto the path. My mouth waters at the sight. Entranced by bulbous ruby red berries, I almost don't register my captor returning to my side. Peas should be ready soon, too. You grew all of this? Of course. Who else would? They give me a puzzled look. They sure do. I just meant you aren't having any trouble with the land? I look at the garden. The pea pods are plump and near ripe, and a hint of wildness is present in the chaotic tangle of stems, leaves, and produce. We're actually just harvesting our peas now as well. They're coming in really good. My thoughts turn back to our struggling farm and the people waiting for me to return. My stomach churns and the encroaching hunger from the smell of strawberries turns into nausea. We did finish harvesting all of our strawberries, though. They also came in really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I suppose, whatever this place is, the blight hasn't come to it.
Trouble? Why would I have trouble? Honestly, what has gotten into you, Daoine?
Dana. Not you, that's for certain. Strangely, the name means human. Well, yeah, okay, I suppose it does, actually.
Daoine.
Dana? No, I falter, remembering my mother's warning. At the time I brushed it off, but now I might need to think twice. Not them. Who else would you be? Wait, answer that when I have some parchment. Without giving me time to respond, they lead me into the structure. Oh, very cozy. Traitor King. The bottom floor is surprisingly cozy, especially given the formidable exterior. Someone has gone to great lengths to make it feel like a home. The hearth is warm and comforting. Potted plants and handmade dolls are scattered about. There's a faint smell of baked bread lingering in the air. Ooh. Bowl of strawberries. Oh, cute little bunny. The teapot looks like an acorn. This place is adorable. They guide me over to a small two-person table. I'll be back in a moment. As I waited at the table with not much else to do, I let my eyes wander out over the decor. The tatting of the lace on this doily is done so well, I wonder if the fairy made all of these things. The dolls, the doilies, the knitted blanket on the back of the armchair. Aw, cute. I nervously eye the comparatively crude monstrosity propped up in the corner, which I assume is some kind of training dummy by the arrows in its torso. The words Traitor King are scrawled across a sign slung over its neck, no doubt a testament of the dummy king's villainy. I suppose some things never change, no matter where you go, but what is it guarding? When the fairy doesn't come back immediately, I use the opportunity to rise and check. It's a holding cell, a remnant of this building's purpose, perhaps, before the fairy made it a home. Peeking through the bars, I scan what may be in my future. Death by allergies. There's just a lumpy-looking hay bed, a suspicious bucket, and a thick layer of dust that covers everything. Better than a skeleton, I suppose. Looking around the room some more, I spot a desk in the far corner covered with scattered maps, notes, letters, and some wayward knitting materials. The maps have writing all over them, and the notes mention something about possible sightings that catches my eye. I say we investigate it.
Absolutely.
Time for snooping. I move some other papers aside and look closely at one of the maps. Strangely, it looks a bit like Ireland at first, but the longer I stare, the less sense it makes. Oh, map.
Here we go. You ready for some deep lore?
Zoom in, zoom out. The continent, or island, is divided into 4 distinct regions: Fallius, Phineas, Murius, and Gorius. The names of the 4 kingdoms. Each name is then followed by a subheading, respectively the province of Spring, Summer, Autumn, and Winter. I wonder what that means. Wait, shit. I shouldn't have clicked. There. Damn it. Okay, good. Fallius, the province of Spring, stands in eternal mourning.
Folius.
Phineas, province of Summer.
Phineas.
I will say that none of the words really means they don't exactly match up with the modern Irish words for the seasons.
I think it's more because it has to deal with the actual lore in the story.
Yeah.
Murius is mine.
Murius.
Murius would be my kingdom.
Province of Autumn. Suppose it'd be
Morius.
mine as well. I do love autumn. Gorius.
Gorius.
Yep. Amid the various landmarks and city-like dwellings are symbols I've never seen before. Strange intersect. You haven't seen Ohm? Well, I mean, you were a peasant in Ireland in the 1800s. You probably wouldn't have come across it.
Having their culture nearly completely wiped off the map.
Yeah. Can't really blame them. It's a symptom. Strange intersecting lines might be some kind of language, but I can't say for sure. So
It hurts my heart.
I know. Everyone in Ireland now knows what Ohm is, even if none of us can really read it. I'm still learning.
I'm still learning.
I can kind of do my vowels. I know I and A. The rest of them I can't really do. I mean, I could probably figure it out based on what we're looking at. So, like... yeah, so I-A-S. That doesn't really narrow it down, because... still. Alright, as I keep looking, I notice some notes and scribbles jutting across the map in certain places. There's a little building in Fallius that looks a bit like this place labeled Outpost. Is that what this is? An outpost? Finally, I take a look at the top of the map. There, I see the presumed name for this strange land. Tir na Nog, Land of the Young. I've only heard that name in stories. Could it be true? Have I followed in the footsteps of Oisin? Legendary poet of Ireland and son of Fionn MacCool, famous for his own journey into Tir na Nog. So Oisin means little deer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely...
When Finn found his mother, she had been transformed into a deer by a curse by the name we talked about prior, Fardara.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I think she spurned him.
Yeah.
So he cursed her, but he was going to kill her, Finn, but his hunting dogs would not allow him.
Yeah.
So when he brought her home, she turned back into a woman, became his wife, and then when she wandered out, Fardara found her, cursed her again, and he found Oisin in the forest.
Yeah, that's it exactly. I think usually when they tell us the story in school, they don't give the guy a name, they just call him like an evil druid kind of thing, you know? You know how it goes like that?
I take offense.
Oh, yeah, so the story of Oisin is that... I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's a long-ass story, but at one point, him and his father, Fionn, and the Fianna, their war band, were out hunting, and across the sea comes the most beautiful woman atop a white horse that anyone's ever seen. Says that her name is Neve, sometimes Neve Keen or Neve of the golden hair, or golden head, technically. Neve means bright, so her name is like Bright Goldhead. But she comes up to them and says, Oisin, you're a hot dude, let's run away together, and they do. He eventually dies. We'll get into it later.
Yep.
I decide to distract myself from this revelation by moving on to one of the letters that's already unfolded. There's a broken wax seal on the paper's edge depicting a swan, like the fairy's pin. Swans come up a lot in Irish myth as well, like the children of Lear who were turned into swans. To the Honourable Shay Farglass. So Farglass would be like green grass. Yeah. Courteous green grass.
Shay Fairglass.
Fair, yeah. It's not far, because far would be man. Green man. Yeah, fair green. Grass is the word. I mumble the words aloud. Shay Fairglass. That must be the fairy's name. The word honorable also clarifies some things. It seems I was right about them being a soldier, just not for any army I know. Suddenly I hear the sound of something being dropped on the table behind me. Caught red-handed, Lord, they're a Lightfoot. I try to turn around as casually as possible, as though I wasn't just prying through their personal affairs. Shay keeps looking between me and the desk, and I brace myself for a new round of lecturing. Instead, they begin talking rapidly.
Look, I know you don't believe me, but I really do think I'm onto something.
Okay, let me in on it. I'm close, I can feel it. Look. They run over to the map and begin pointing to areas and talking about things I don't understand. So the princess was being held in Dún Tulan. Dún is fort. You see that a lot in names like Donegal, Dún Nanal, the fort of foreigners.
That's why usually whenever I play Manor Lords, my village is usually called Dunglass.
Green Fort. Dún Tulan.
What do they have for that?
Sure, I'm actually not sure what the Tulan part would mean. Mound. Okay.
Duntalan.
Which is in Murius, right? Right. And which princess is this again? Shay immediately looks at me like I have two heads.
What do you mean, which princess? The one I've been looking for the last 150 years.
Yes.
He aged gracefully. Or they, sorry.
The missing heir to King Henri's throne.
Attacked by the Unseelie. Disappeared without a trace. Henri. Hold on. Henri is... I know that's a word that I know. Nope, might be thinking of something else. What is it? It's just a name. Never mind. Ringing any bells? Feel the blood drain from my face. 150 years? Just how old are they? Long living aside, though, it's an awfully long time to look for someone. Wonder if all this princess talk has something to do with that battered dummy in the corner. Now, not that I'm terribly inclined to ask. Anyways, it wasn't always Unseelie territory. Despite the attack, we held that spot of Murius right till the end. It only went to the traders after the treaty, so I might have been wrong about her getting stuck over there, given the timing. I assume the treaty is the treaty between the fairies and the humans. So, now I've got a different thought. The princess was closest to her druid more than anyone in the world, besides me, and that lot chose not to interfere in the war. So what if she's with them? So what if she's with them? Hiding away in one of their sanctuary temple things.
I do enjoy how they're portraying the druids as advisors, because that's exactly what they were to the ancient kings of Ireland.
Druid comes from, I forget the exact words, but the...
Druid.
Yeah. The broad idea...
That's the Gaelic word.
It's probably very similar in Irish. But the basic idea of it is like oak knowledge. So, yeah, knowledge from oaks or of oaks. Tree knowledge.
Yep.
When we escaped, I told her to go somewhere the Unseelie can't go. Maybe she thought that meant somewhere not part of the war, or maybe she didn't choose at all. She could be as much a prisoner there for all anyone knows. Since the druids refused to stand with us when we needed it most, it wouldn't surprise me to learn that they kept their true heir tucked away for a rainy day. Hope that's not the case, but I don't know. Some of that lot felt as two-faced as the traders. No offense.
When you get done in Tever, I'd like to ask you a few questions about your time training there.
Temer. It's a large city in Falius. Capital of the Seelie Court. Prior to the War of the Courts... Okay. War between the Seelie and Unseelie. I will say I'm not as familiar with the whole Seelie-Unseelie thing. That's a bit more of a modern...
I'm not... Yeah, I'm not either. I know it mainly from, of course, D&D, but apparently it has some rooting in Scottish fairy lore.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not as familiar with the Scottish side of things or some of the more modern interpretations. So Seelie and Unseelie, yeah, completely beyond me. Don't know anything about it. I glanced back at the map. There's a Temer and Falius. I was right. I really am in Tir na Nog. Freshly war-torn Tir na Nog, if I'm keeping up with everything Shay's just said. I waver on unsteady legs for a moment. Shay stares at me suspiciously and clears their throat before continuing.
Of course, I wouldn't ask you to tell me any secrets. And I know you have to tend to the townspeople too, so it'd only be during one of your usual visits.
Alright, so I'm picking up that we might be a druid.
Yes.
Assuming the queen lets you after all this, I mean. I know she doesn't like me poking around about it. Hey, I'm sorry about earlier. I've just been worried sick, you know, but I shouldn't have been so rough with you. Thank you. Does this mean you'll untie this rope? Not a chance. Now come on over to the table. Well, we tried. Well, at least we seem to be on better terms now. Maybe I can get them to listen to me.
So what I'm seeing is that the Ballad of Alison Gross refers to the Seelie Court. This song was only recorded in 1783. So it is fairly modern.
Yeah. I think a lot of the Sealy, unsealy stuff is really like...
It is British Isles, or mainland Britain style of talking about the she.
Yeah.
Which eventually got to Ireland and Britain and Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and then just people started taking it for as fact.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There's a lot of modern Irish fairy lore that can be traced back to, I forget which person specifically it was. One of our poets who might have been a complete asshole. So he's the guy that came up with Lananshi, the Irish muse / vampire fairy. The one that's like, it's a female fairy that finds a creative person and latches onto them and provides them with inspiration, but it drains their soul at the same time.
Yes, and they actually portrayed them wonderfully in the Ancient Magus' Bride.
They did, didn't they? That was a good show. Still haven't watched the second season yet.
Oh, dude, you need to.
I know, I really need to. There was another show. There was another anime recently-ish. Fuck if I can't remember the name, but they actually used Siúil as the ending theme song. Siúil anime. The Girl from the Other Side. It is... I remember it being very cute. It's got a very fun style to it.
Is the poet W.B. Yeats?
It might have been Yeats. Can't remember. W.B. Yeats, Lananshi.
1865 to 1939.
Posting of the Lananshi. Yeah, I think it was Yeats.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a slight possibility that Yeats might have just made up a whole bunch of fairies that were mostly just him being angry at his exes.
So basically the same reason why we have the Hammer of Witches. The Witchy, you might be able to remind me of the book. The Malus Maleficarum.
Oh, that's the witch hunting book, isn't it?
That's the witch hunting book. Yeah, basically it was made by a begrudged priest who was getting mad at a woman because she would not listen to what he said, and he tried to call her a witch, and everyone in the town said, including the judges, said, "You're a fucking idiot. Get out of our town." So he decided, like, "Hi, all women are evil and are witches and need to be burned."
It's amazing how much of classic literature was just made by ancient incels.
Yep. Can't possibly get any worse as we get on in the years.
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel to recommend. I'm gonna find the exact... There you go, the Lananshi. Yeah, we want this.
The equivalent in Scotland is the Babanshi.
Yeah.
They literally just drain your blood and life.
Yep. And then it just turns out he was just talking about his ex. So, yeah, I have a YouTube channel to recommend. Here's the exact video they have on Lananshi. It is Hog and Dice, who is a friend of a friend, and they have I think a bachelor's in Irish folklore. But they do very good Irish folklore and Irish mythology videos.
I need to go back to college for this stuff. Just wasn't too expensive.
I have actually thought of going and taking that exact course at some point. I'll do it in the future. But it sounds very good. It's Irish The one I found, at least, was Irish folklore and Old Irish language, which is apparently even harder than modern Irish, so I'm not sure what I'd be getting myself into. Okay. I finally see what they dropped on the table when they came. This is going to take forever. We're on chapter 2. They brought me a plate of bread and honey with a glass of milk. Well, it's like the stuff people leave out for fairies. That's cute. Go on. You eat while I interrogate you. I don't quite like the sound of that. What kind of interrogation is this? I stare at the food. My mouth salivates pleadingly. Ugh. My stomach may be all for it, but every other part of me is warning not to, if I ever intend on getting home, that is. It's good instinct, man. I swallow down the hunger. I'm not hungry, Gurav Magat, which is just thank you. Or good be on you.
Guramahagat.
Yeah, Rev is past tense of the to be verb. Ma's good. Obviously, agut is on you. So, goodness be on you. My gut groans in protest. Traitor. It's getting a sign, too. You sure about that? Aye. Positive.
So, in terms of fairy lore, is it the same as you would say with the Greek mythology, where it's you eat the food of the underworld and you're forever stuck in the underworld? So as you eat the food of the other world, you're stuck there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, it doesn't really seem to have happened to a few of the people. They seem to get out fine after presumably having eaten a bunch, but, you know, fairy rules, it kind of varies. In this case, don't eat food. Didn't happen to Usheen, but, I mean, he died anyway. But that's just because he was 300 years older than he thought he was. Shay stares at me, frustration plain on their face, but they don't press the issue and sit opposite me. They take out a scroll and begin scrawling quickly, mumbling to themselves. Finally, they look up at me.
So, what were you doing by the loch?
I gone for a swim. Their quill pauses as they wait for my answer. Now, let's be open with them. Explain.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest with the sheep, yeah.
Oh, I just noticed their little dagger. It's nice. At last, I can explain. Oh, this is gonna feel good. I take a deep breath before launching into my story. I was on my way to Galway.
Galway? What's a Galway?
Wait, hold on. Let's... Galiv. Which, also has the word foreigner in it, I think. No, I'm not gonna bother looking it up. I'm just gonna assume it does. Oh, I suppose they don't know where that is. It's a place on the other side of the loch. You went to Inishfall? Ireland. I didn't go there. I'm from there. Like I keep trying to tell you. Well, of course you are originally, but you know you're not allowed to open the waypoint without permission.
Daoine, that's dangerous stuff to mess with.
There has to be some way I can convince you. I was just minding my business when a thief stole my horse and pushed me into the lake. When I stumbled out again, it spat me up here instead of there. I'm not Daoine, it's just a mistake. Shay hesitates as they decide if they believe me. They go and pull a small bronze hand mirror. Oh, we look completely different than we did before, don't we? They go and pull a small bronze hand mirror out of their desk before handing it to me. It's just me staring back. Oh, okay. Half expected a different face to be looking into the mirror. Yeah, so did I. Well, they got us both. Still looks like you to me. How is this possible? Who is Daoine? Maybe I should be asking who I am at this rate. You look like Daoine, and I sure didn't see a horse thief on my way to the loch. Besides, how's someone like that supposed to open up a waypoint? That sort of thing's far beyond the skill of a single person.
You realize how absurd this story sounds, right?
I'm starting to get an idea of it.
I hate how they swap between no voice acting and then suddenly voice acting, then none again. It drives me up a damn wall.
I kind of get why they do it, but it certainly would give me a bit of a rest if Shay did all of their lines for themselves.
Exactly. No, when I did this, I did the narrating, but I did it in my struggling accent.
I am not going to bother. My accent is nonsense enough as it is. We don't need me trying to sound Irish.
No, you don't. We can hear it.
If you insist. I'm pretty sure I sound like a Midwestern Minnesotan boy. Likely more than you do. Honestly, Daoine, I don't know what to make of you now. You disappear for months without a word, working up everyone from me to the court about where you've toddled off to. You know, some folks thought you were killed, right? Or worse, defected. Bet if I hadn't been coming down for my rounds, you wouldn't have even thought to come by the outpost and let me know you weren't dead. Now you're spinning all these tall tales. Please, I'm not. Help me find the thief and I'll show you. Shay frowns and instead of answering me, grabs my forearm. This again? You have a bruise from where I grabbed you earlier. I can't see what they're doing, but they begin rubbing the blossoming bruise and humming softly. Can you please give me my arm back? Reddening, they drop at my arm and rush off to their desk. I look down and the bruise is gone. How did they do that? Glancing at Shay, I see they're busying themselves at their desk. I have a longing glance over at the food and see a piece of bread is missing. Wait a second, where did it go? Am I finally losing it? Look down at your hands. Maybe you picked it up without noticing. While I try to figure that out, I hear Shay nailing one of the notes they just wrote on the exterior door of the outpost. This prompts me to turn back to Shay, who then leans out a window to make a strange call. A gasp as a strange being with dragonfly-like wings flutters in and takes the note. I'll meet you at the palace. They whisper the promise to the creature and give it an affectionate head scratch. Then it bounds back out of the window. They pause in front of me awkwardly.
You know that if you just tell me what you've been trying to do, I'd help you. You're basically family, Daoine. But if you don't tell me anything, then I can't.
We're trying to explain. Come on. Then help me catch the person who started this mess. We've got to talk to the Queen first. Are you sure you won't eat? Again, I appreciate it, but no. With a final sigh, they gather their things and lead me out the door. I guess it's time to meet the Queen of the Fairies. Oh Lord, what have I gotten myself into? You're fucked, mate. On Moschir Rune. So that'd be either the Secret Master or the Lover Master. Rune is kind of a fun word because it means secret and is like a term of endearment for somebody you love. Master of Secrets.
Oh, this asshole. Okay.
The ride
Without spoiling much, you'll learn to hate this character.
Alrighty. The ride to Tamara is quiet. Shay keeps glancing wearily at me, like they want to ask more questions, but change their mind every time. Suppose I'm not sure what to say either, since nothing I tell them makes a difference. If only I had anything for my saddlebag. A cute little tiered town. As we approach the city, we ride through the farmlands on the outskirts. Fields are all flourishing and ready to harvest, even though it feels like a beautiful spring day. So, what was the name of it? There was a book I read ages ago. I think it was called The New Policeman or something like that. about a boy in rural Ireland around like the early 1900s, I think it was, who accidentally finds himself falling into Tir na Nog after exploring a souterrain, one of the cellars underneath an old hill fort. And Tir na Nog is going through a crisis in that time is moving, and they're not used to that.
I love that. I love how just simple of a concept is like, are we actually getting old?
Yeah. So it's like
there is actually a story in Norse myth about something similar like that. And once again, it's Loki's fault.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, Loki does everything. You can't get mad at him, though, the lovable scamp.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Until the very end. When he does
And not even then.
Yeah, not even then, really. But yeah, so in the book, the kid meets some fairies, and they're like, yeah, we're going through a bit of a crisis. You see the sun? Well, it used to be there, and they point a little bit further up into the sky from where it is at the moment, and it's freaking them out. We finally make it to the city gates, an imposing wall at the base of an enormous hill. Perched on top of the hill is the palace, where I can only assume I'm being taken. My panic begins to rise as we get closer. If I don't find a way out of this, I may never get home. And who knows what else this Daoine I'm supposed to be has done. If Shay is this angry, imagine what the Queen might be thinking. At least if I run, I might have a better chance of getting home. Shay takes this very moment to pull me closer to them. They could sense it.
Now we are going to head straight to the palace. No stalling. Stay close. A lot of people have missed having you around to tend to them, and I don't want you getting dragged off.
If we stop for everyone who needs it, we'll never get there. Oh, we're going to be stopping for a lot of stuff, I suspect. Whatever you do, don't bring up that talk about Inish Fall. I expect the Queen won't take too kindly to hearing the court druids trying to flee the country. Rutrow. The court what now? That sounds important. Shay doesn't say anything more on it, though, and leads their horse over to the stables before we enter the city. Kara's not a fan of the city. Too crowded. Aw, her horse's name is Friend. I nod sympathetic. Their horse's name is Friend.
I know that word for from Mo'anam Kara.
My soul friend. S-O-U.
I had to ask Pei. I'm like, okay, is this just saying like, hi, you're my bestest friend in the world, or is this a term for a lover? Because I've heard it used for both.
It's a little vague.
Of course it is.
I nod sympathetically, not being much of a fan myself. Poor horse. Darby isn't nervous around people. The old girl doesn't seem to even pay attention most of the time. Alright there, Shay. Been a while since you've been up. Just escorting the druid back, then I'm back to the post. Takes all my willpower not to snort at the idea of being escorted like this. Ooh, pretty. Inside the walls... Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was about to say, I love the art style they chose for this.
It's very comfy. Inside the walls, the city is bustling with activity. People here, like Shay, are all mostly human-looking, save for the pointed ears and a few strange, otherworldly hair colors. Oh no, we've entered anime world.
We've entered an anime convention.
Comic-Con. A giant canal runs along the main thoroughfare, and the stores and homes are all inside gorgeous marble buildings. The blooming flowers that litter every corner and crevice fill the air with their pleasant aromas. Monum, I don't know what I expected, but it was nothing like this. I crane my head as we walk to see as much as possible. Down the alleyways, I get glimpses of shabby row houses and dimly lit stores. Shay and I walk side by side. They have a firm grip on my bindings. First, I'm annoyed by the short leash until an elderly woman suddenly grabs my arm, their bony grip locked around it. Daoine, dear, I was so worried when I heard. I thought to myself, now who's gonna make wee Kieran's medicine? But they didn't do a little pop-up for Kieran. Well, it's just a normal name, though. I feel a bit bewildered getting picked out from the crowd. Seems Shay isn't the only one who thinks I'm Daoine. As I prepare to respond, Shay quickly cuts me off. Not just now, Mrs. Dupuer. I promised to get Daoine back to you, but first we gotta go see the Queen. Oh, Dupuer, she has a very normal last name. Of course. You come around too sometimes, Shay. She leaves without a fuss, and it isn't until she is out of sight that we continue on. I feel my stomach churn as we walk. While no one else approaches Shay and I feel an abundance of eyes on me. Just how well known is Daoine? Are they some kind of doctor? I don't like this. How am I going to get out of here if the whole damn city knows my face? They come up to a busy crossroads, filled with all sorts of food and bauble vendors. Amid the carts passing by, the large crowds and the many alleyways, this could be the perfect moment for my escape. Run now! Wait a little longer.
Yep.
I only get one chance. Gotta make it count. We continued down the main thoroughfare, where I peek into shop windows and open doors to see the assortment of foods, trinkets, and fabrics offered. I do kind of want to see what happens if I just let the time run down as well. That might be for a second playthrough.
I don't know what happens.
You feel like when there's a timer, you feel like you have to make a decision. One weaver in particular is showing off what looks like silk that shifts from silver to rich purple color in the light. Small crowd of admirers clap and gasp on cue. A bauble vendor is calling out to pedestrians to lure them over to her shop. Some of her trinkets are shaped like creatures I've never seen before. A couple remind me of the one I saw Shay talk to. Some of them sparkle with what looks like real gems. Guess I wouldn't be able to tell if they were fake, but I get the feeling I'm not wrong. Any one of these could probably sell for 10 times what I had in my saddlebag. The well-to-do looking customers don't seem too impressed, though. Everything here is so fancy that I bet it wouldn't be so bad living in the city.
That's happening.
I speak without thinking, temporarily forgetting that I'm supposed to know what here is like. Shay gives me a confused look that I am quickly growing familiar with. The look that says, Daoine wouldn't think the same. Guess if you don't look too hard, I mean, you know how it is They stop mid-sentence as though remembering my story. Maybe they're finally starting to believe me. But whatever they're thinking, they quickly shake the thought out of their head.
Anyway, you know how it is. Put the nice stuff up front so no one sees what's happening in the back.
Of course, you know this lot don't care much anyway. Could be worse, I guess. Most people are doing alright now that the Queen lets you come down here and help people. Help people like that. I wonder what Daoine does for the city. The Queen is letting her important druid come down to help. It must be pretty necessary. Even so, fairy problems are the least of my concerns. Right now I'm just trying to deal with my human problems. Speaking of which, we're approaching a busy intersection soon. This might be the chance I need. We step into the street just in time for a carriage to come barreling towards us. I plant my feet into the dirt and defiantly refuse to budge, forcing Shay to either let go of the rope or be run over. I feel them release the rope with seconds to spare. We both stumble backwards as the carriage driver shouts obscenities at us. The traffic continues to flow, pushing Shay and I further apart.
Hey! You stay right there!
I can barely see them in the crowd now, and I use the opening to flee into the first alley I see. We're running! Sketch! Sorry, Shay, but I can't afford to get dragged into more fairy business. I'm in way over my head as it is. Ah, this'll end well.
Ah, my part of town.
The shady bit. As I run, tall market buildings begin to obscure the light in the alley, shrouding it in a bit of darkness. Hidden in the shadows, I eventually stop and lean against the cool stone walls and fiddle with the rope bindings. It's no use. The knot is secure and the rope is tight against my wrists. I skulk further down the alley in search of anything sharp. The alley gives way to another area of town, where shabby storefronts have beggars and street food carts instead of the comparatively posh vendors I just left. I really don't need to be walking around like this. While doing my best to keep myself inconspicuous, I search the ground for anything of use. A shattered bottle by the doorway of a boisterous bar catches my eye. I dart over and snatch up my prize. Shielding myself from the bar window, I try to saw at the rope with the glass shard. But it's difficult. Even when I manage to twist the glass at an effective angle, my fingers will slip or my wrist will cramp up. Damn, Shay sure knows how to tie a knot. I heave a sigh and drop my head back against the wall, giving my poor hands a rest. Just as I do, I spot a small, fluttering light overhead. Yeah, what you doing there, little buddy? I squint my eyes as the light draws closer and hovers by my still-bound wrists. I peer down at it and gasp softly. It's not a light at all, but a strange glowing moth. Don't suppose you could do anything about this? As though in answer, the moth quickly flies away. Oh. Of course, that load of help you are. Without much other choice in the matter, I get back at it. Thankfully, after a painful few minutes of struggle, I finally finish cutting the rope. As I'm soothing my aching wrists, the glowing moth returns. Yay, friend. A little too late, aren't you? I'm talking to magical fairy moths now.
Well, well. Imagine that. The Sealy court druid, missing for weeks, found loitering near a bar that serves known criminals. What will people say?
Told you I hate this asshole.
Think of the papers. Brandishing the glass shard, I turn to face the speaker. A tall, slender man stands behind me, his face half obscured by shadow. The moth flutters near him, even though he pays it no attention. What does that say about you, then? Yeah. I snap back at him, my voice stronger than I expected. The man steps into the light. He leans towards me until we are face to face. Swear to God. Bagora! He is the prettiest person I've ever seen. His golden eyes hone in on me and he gives me a vulpine smile.
Why, it says I'm doing my job, of course.
And what job is that? My voice is beginning to waver under his cold gaze.
Finding you. Now come, let your dear friend Keegan take you back where you belong.
Keegan. Ardent. Yeah. Keegan Masheroon.
Keegan Moshtaruan.
Yep, we have our spy master.
He looks like a spy master. His smile is even more unsettling. Is everyone in the other world after Daoine? Escaping is getting more complicated by the second. Damn it, I really have no choice at all. I dejectedly walk alongside him as we venture through the alleys.
Very convenient that I ran into you here. I was just meeting with an associate regarding your whereabouts. It was quite useless, evidently.
Is it the Ma? Your associate? One of them, yes. I would be a poor master of secrets without a variety of contacts. Master of secrets, is that some kind of fancy word for a spy? Guess that makes sense. It would explain why he was at a place like this. Should probably be extra careful around him. Just my luck I'd run into him while everyone thinks I'm some important druid person. Maybe I can play the part long enough to get out of here. Feel like that might backfire, but go for it. Rather than heading directly for the palace, Keegan instead leads me into a fancy-looking boutique. Never been in such a shop before, but Keegan glides through it with clear familiarity. Oh, we're getting new duds! The two shopkeepers whisper frantically between themselves when they catch sight of us. As Keegan approaches the counter, their whispers turn into delighted grins and greetings. Are we gonna get one of those outfit change montages? I hope we do.
Oh, hello there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Master Keegan, back so soon? Or is this a visit of pleasure?
My lady, as much as I value my time here, this visit is not for me.
Keegan attentively takes her hand and briefly kisses her knuckles. The young woman flushes pink before shooting me a look of contempt. Well, what did I do? Yes, about my guest here. I'm bringing our flighty druid friend back to the palace, but... All three of them stare at me, and I nervously rub my dirty hands on my clothes. Never really put much thought into my looks, besides from the times I've needed to mend a thing or two. Standing in front of their judgmental eyes, though, my meager clothing seems more shabby than before. You can see the problem. I simply cannot present the druid in this state. The queen would be devastated. Master Keegan, how considerate! The queen is truly blessed to have such a man in her court.
Now.
Good sir, the pleasure is mine. Can't tell if Keegan is being sincere or not, but the couple behind the counter don't seem to care either way. They rush to bring me an assortment of outfits, all while fawning over him.
Representation.
Mm-hmm. Suppose he's pretty popular. Couple never speak to me directly. Instead, they talk to Keegan about me. Rude. I do notice that they seem to keep shooting nervous glances at the glowing moth that curiously bobs near him at all times. You don't seem to like your moth very much. I'm not sure what possesses me to speak up. Likely the fact the shopkeepers keep ignoring me. The lady shopkeeper shoots me an ugly look before returning to her fabrics. Keegan sees it, he says nothing. The ace she usually aren't allowed inside. This couple is kind enough to make an exception for my will-o-wisp. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, we already did that one. I stared dumbfounded at the fluttering moth. I grew up hearing stories about the wisps, but to see one this close, it's different than I imagined. Cuter, I suppose? Well, you don't really get much of a chance to get close to wisps normally.
No, you don't. You die.
Mm-hmm. You end up near the bog butter.
Mm-hmm.
For a moment, I pause. Wait, but aren't you all Aishi? What's the difference? Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh.
As soon as I say that, the couple both stare at me horrified. Keegan actually looks caught off guard.
You've returned much more vulgar than before. Intriguing, but unbecoming. What if I'd asked the difference between you and a horse? It amounts to the same thing.
Well, a horse is a horse, of course.
As you well know, they were already here when we, the two a day, were driven to Tirnanog. It's a foul human conflation to assume we're the same.
Huh. So they're not fairies, then? Or at least a different sort, enough so that the conflation would cause offense. My first time in a fancy shop and I insult the owners. I'm not sure if Keegan cares about what I say, but I get the feeling the wisp means more to him than he lets on, else he wouldn't keep it so close. What do you think, Master Keegan? The mauve caftan or the emerald gown? Keegan seriously considers each option before grabbing them both and walking over to me. He holds out the outfits for me to consider. Oh boy. Well, this will be the most important decision we make. Let's let the wearer choose, shall we? The fabrics are high-quality silks. Never earn enough in my lifetime to pay for these. I have to find a way out of this before I end up deeper in trouble. Never fear, Mahara. This is simply a business expense. Of course I will foot the bill. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. Mahara. My friend. Usually Ahara is used as a form of address. Yeah, you put it at the top of letters. Like It's kind of like deer would be in English. Whereas Mhaithe is possessive. Some find Keegan's prediction towards the possessive phrase as an address odd, rude, or unsettling.
Mhaithe.
That's exactly what I'm worried about. Yeah. The words come out before I can stop myself. You seem to have also gained some sass on your unexpected vacation. Simply must tell me what you got up to. After we meet with the Queen, of course. For now, let's make you presentable. I flush at the reminder of my position and grab one of the outfits. At least it's not timed.
What is a kaftan?
I'm actually not sure. I don't recognize the word. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up as well.
Oh, okay. It's a
It's a big old fancy robe.
Yep, big old fancy robe.
So dress, robe, or big old shirt.
It's a very pink. It's a shade of pinkish purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For the color, I'd say. You know what? I'd say me personally, simple tunic, but kaftan.
Yeah, me as well for the simple tunic, but yeah, let's go with the kaftan. That sounds fun.
I did the tunic on my run.
I settle on the kaftan, an ankle-length robe held together around the midsection with a sash. It seems rather like Keegan's, except his attire comes with trousers. I put in a saffron tunic instead, which hangs around the same length. The fabric of the kaftan is the same color as wild carry, and golden thread forms an intricate knotted pattern along the trim. Despite the longer sleeves and multiple layers, the outfit feels feather-light and airy. Ooh. Once I'm finished changing, the shopkeeper gesture over to me to a large silver mirror, so I can finally see myself in full. How do you feel? They are masters of their craft, no? Feel a bit silly. I agree, they are.
Let's not insult them anymore.
Yeah, we've done enough. Aren't you basically a horse? I agree, they are. Clothes fit me as though they'd been made for me, not hastily grabbed from a pile. I run my fingers along the fine stitching and feel how impossibly light the fabric is. I can see why Keegan frequents this shop so often.
I think he frequents for other reasons.
I think he does frequent for other reasons. 2 other reasons. Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
As we approach the counter, the tailors are both watching me in triumph. They may be snooty, but they obviously take a lot of pride in their work.
I must say, you did not disappoint me. Once again, I'm in your debt.
Oh, you flatter us, Master Keegan. Your patronage is thanks enough. Mm-hmm. I bet you do.
Yep, called it.
Of course, we also enjoy your more casual visits. As do I. For now, I fear I must return to the palace. I'll send payment along with what I owe for my personal order. Keegan continues to discuss the details in between their saccharine compliments. By the time we leave, they invited him for tea no less than 3 times.
So basically the Irish tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Along with saying goodbye 10 times before actually hanging up the phone.
Yeah. Right, well, I'll leave you to it then.
Goodbye, goodbye, bye, bye, goodbye, goodbye, bye.
God, nobody ever just leaves. Meanwhile, I still can't stop thinking about what it means that I accepted these clothes. Keegan says that I won't have to pay, but the fairies, whatever he fancies himself to be, don't just give away things for free. Mm-hmm. When we make it to the palace, for a moment I'm struck by its opulence. Intricate canals and waterfalls decorate the grounds, and pink roses cover a significant portion of the land. We're greeted by a grandiose marble staircase and a large pink banner bearing the same swan and roses I saw back at Shay's outpost. The stone is carved into a mix of antiquity and long, sinuous lines that give the palace a beautifully unique appearance. Moss and roses grow along the ground and walls and cover the elaborate fountains in green and pink so that there is a trace of wilderness about the place. The palace feels old, too, but not in a bad way. More timeless than anything. If I wasn't terrified for my life, I'd love it. This is the most grand building I've ever seen. Keegan seems unfazed by the grandeur as he casually greets the guards and guides us through the gates, then over a bridge.
Watch your step, Mokara. It's a long way down.
I raise my eyebrow and glimpse over the side of the bridge. When I do, I have to force myself not to make any sudden movements. I expected to see a lake or something down below us, but all those waterfalls are just flowing into some great pit. Can't even see the bottom of it. Instinctively, I walk closer to Keegan until we put it some bit of distance between us and the pit. As we enter the palace itself, servants and nobles line the halls we pass through, whispering behind their hands and staring at us. At me. The servants are watching with concern, their eyes flicking between me and my escort, Keegan. The nobles, on the other hand. Oh my, I think we're in for a show today. Didn't they run off to join the Unseelie? Vaguely seem like they're anticipating my demise, and enjoying it. I squint as I note the word Unseelie. I've heard it before. I think Shane mentioned something about it, didn't they? Despite the columned halls being open to the air, it feels claustrophobic as I realize I'm the center of attention. This is like some kind of nightmare. Quick, look down. Are you actually naked? Did you leave the caftan back at the place? As we make the long journey down the hall, I can't help but think whatever the Queen has in store can't be worse than this.
Quite impolite, aren't they? Gawking so openly. You'd think they'd have better things to do.
Well, they're nobles, so... Is he trying to make me feel better? Give him an anxious smile in return. Keegan blocks me from the crowd as he leans over to hold the door to the throne room. His expression never changes, but his voice drops so that only I hear him. Are you ready to go in? I mean, if I say not yet, what do we get to do with that?
I don't know. I've never chosen that one.
I think we'll have to go with yes.
He's going to say too bad.
Too bad! Kicks us in. You know what? On the one hand, I do want us to keep going, but...
Yeah.
I want to see. I'm sure it'll just lead back into... Just need a moment to get myself together. Rather than mocking me as I expected, Keegan nods and takes a step away from me, then whispers something to the guard. What would Dad think of me now? I shouldn't give in yet. The guard Keegan speaks to begins dispersing the crowd. Both nobles and servants grumble as they go back to their tasks. Take a deep breath and compose myself. Keegan returns to my side, and I give him another anxious smile. With a nod from me, he opens the door.
Also, it's just extra dialogue.
Yeah, it's just extra dialogue. That's grand. Head held high, I walk into the throne room. To my surprise, the Queen is nowhere to be seen. Well, she's not even showing up for her date. Fine. You look very tired. Instead, there are three very important-looking men talking amongst themselves. All three of them turn to look at us as we walk in.
Their presence angers me. They look so smug.
They do look very smug. Sehor, Kehor, and Tehor? Alright, let's...
Sethor, Kethor, Tethor.
Okay, fine. Last High Kings of Inishfal.
Why? Those would be the three grandsons of the Dagda? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
It's actually the first time I've been hearing about these guys. Why, of course, I should have known you would be here awaiting Her Majesty. The men share a cautious look before approaching us. Well, if it isn't Keegan. I'd wondered where our Masteroon had slithered off to. The red-headed man chuckles at some joke only he understood. The other two men are appraising me, both looking at me as though I were something foul. Wonderful. I get all gussied up and the fops still turn their noses up at me. Isn't Daoine supposed to be one of them? Or do all the wealthy folk just have a second sense for spotting the poor?
So I was correct there. The three sons of Kermed, son of the Dagda, which is Makul, Makek, and Makrena. They are the husbands of Fodla, Banab, and Eru.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
they were the three. They were the three high kings of Ireland when the Milesians came. So they were the last Tuatha Danann kings of Ireland.
Okay. Yeah,
and they do not look happy about it.
No, they look a little annoyed about it.
Yep.
Here's hoping they aren't too close to the Queen. I see you're returning the fledgling druid. Her Majesty will be most grateful, I'm sure. Oh yes, she does love her pets, doesn't she? Kether's eyes remain on Keegan, and I wonder if he was included in that statement.
I only do as she asks of me.
Yes. Yes, he was included in that statement.
I'm sure Her Majesty will feel the same about you.
And what are you implying by that, Master of Secrets?
Her Majesty must be reliant on us all to watch out for her best interests. After all, rulers these days are dropping like flies. No?
The courtiers share a furtive glance, but Keegan gives no indication if he saw it. Kether's face rushes through several expressions before settling on indignation. However, we don't get a chance to hear his response. Alright, let's see. 2 a.m. Yeah, we'll go for one more.
Also, I did notice something that was interesting because Sethor, Tethor, and Kethor, Sethor the Hazel, Tethor the Plowshare, and Kethor of the Sun. If you notice their robes, you see the branch of hazel, you see a sun, and you see a bunch of wheat on them. So
I didn't
connects
pick
with
up
their
on
titles.
That. Nice. That's fun. On Vanri and Rose, so Rose is Rose. Vanrian is Queen. That's like literally woman king.
So Queen of Roses.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
That's, I mean, Queen of Roses, Rose Queen, it's the same thing. Before...
Ow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very Princess Bride as well. Before the sneering courtier can fumble in a final retort, a chorus of trumpets erupts through the throne room, ceasing all the chatter around us entirely. I spin around, following the collective gaze of the court until it settles on the back door, where an ostentatiously clad footman stands at attention. Presenting her illustrious royal majesty, as regal as the swan, a flower among women, beautiful and benevolent, a paragon of grace and before the Everdawn dims, if you will. Aoife Elevon, Queen of the Tuatha Danann and Sovereign of the Siúil Court. Yeah. Name means radiant, surname means white swan.
I know a few goddesses who would take umbrage with that title.
Aoife Elevon.
Yeah, Elevon. Tuatha Danann, Sovereign of the Siúil Court. The door practically bursts open from behind the footman, who scurries off to the side before he can be trampled by the ensuing procession. The scene is a spectacle to behold. Hordes of finely dressed folk all flutter around a lace-shrouded litter, and everyone else in its immediate presence is either forced to disperse or join in the revelry. Some of the entourage play music, sing, or toss dried flowers out in front of it like rice at a wedding. Most, though, are crowded in and around the litter itself, all speaking up to the woman inside, their voices converging in an incomprehensible cacophony. I unthinkingly make a step towards the scene, feeling almost compelled to get a better look, but no matter how I strain my neck, I can barely see past all the other people in the litter's wake. Suddenly I feel a hand on my shoulder.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. The Queen's entrances stop for none.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a trampling
She
hazard.
does have a knack for it, though, doesn't she?
Right. Yes. Keegan smiles at me and leads me out of the way of the litter, but I keep my eyes firmly fixed to it even as it passes me by. I can't help myself. I've heard stories about the Queen of the Fairies ever since I was a wee thing. Even if she isn't quite a fairy in the strictest sense, she must be a marvel to have this kind of escort following her in every step. Sadly, all I can make out is her faint silhouette. Oh, did you see Her Majesty's gown? What a splendid design. I simply must... Oh, what? Oh, watch where you're going, you little oaf. I turn my head around, following the ruckus that just broke out. Squinting some, I watch as a variety of courtiers are seemingly pushed and shoved aside, all echoing a similar aghast sentiment. Can't see who's doing the pushing, though. They'd have to be awfully short to... We are being real mean about Shay's height. Stand aside, I have urgent news for the Queen. Right, that explains it. I see our little friend is back. This should be amusing. Oh, we're watching. I chuckle a bit wryly at that, resigning myself to stand and watch the scene unfold. I feel a tad guilty for the trouble Shay might get into, but I can't afford to stick my neck out in a place like this. Well, it's not even about not sticking our neck out, I'm just doing it because I think it'll be funny. I'm in enough trouble as it is. I'm not about to throw myself between some stranger and the Queen of the Not-Quite-Fairies. Shay marches through the crowd, dead set on carving a direct path through the court to the Queen. The nobles and courtiers look irate. There's noticeable shouting now, though I can't make out any of the specifics.
Oh dear. Not one for decorum, are they?
Oh no.
Eventually, Shay manages to strong-arm their way to the litter. They're stopped from reaching the Queen by one of her personal guardsmen. Shay doesn't seem like they care about that. They get up in his face, yelling and wagging their finger. I can't help but wince a little. I see they've gotten themselves into a shouting match. Funny. Foolish, but funny.
I say they're brave.
Yeah, I like Shay. We like Shay. I chew the inside of my cheek. I don't know. I think it's a bit brave. Doing what you feel is right and not caring about what any of this lot thinks. In my experience, Mahara, the two are one and the same. Perhaps you would think differently if their actions today came at a cost. I turn and look up at Keegan, a bit startled. Will it? Depends. On what? If the Queen is pleased to see you. With that, Keegan takes a sidelong glance back towards the litter. Apprehensively, I follow his lead and see that Shay is glowering right at us. Oh. Feeling a slight chill down my spine, I wave. Shay, seemingly confused for a short moment, waves back.
It's a human thing.
And as we both wave for our own embarrassing reasons, I suddenly feel the eyes of the court shift from Shay onto me. Oh. Before I know it, the procession and all its pageantry has come to an abrupt halt in the middle of the room. I fold my arms and frantically look between Keegan and Shay, unsure of what to say or do with all of this newfound attention on me. But neither of them seem like they're going to do much of anything. Even Shay is understandably a bit mad at me, and Keegan is a jerk. Well, he just seems like he'd rather watch me squirm.
Told you he's a piece of shit.
Christ, why did my double have to be the most conspicuous bleeding person in the whole of the other world? Hello there!
Oh my gods.
Oh no. I startle as an unseen voice cuts through the whispers of the court, and, like clockwork, all the attention is pried off me and onto...
Jaina! There you are, you little rascal! Where in Danu's name have you been, darling?
Well, hello there.
Indeed, hello there.
Avanrian. Movanrian. Banukti. Hanasatatu.
Zootite.
Alright, Danu. The mother goddess of the Tuatha Danann. It was she who created Tir na Nog and elevated the Tuatha to godhood, granting them knowledge of magic. Do you have any idea how devastated I was? It's true. Her Majesty very nearly cancelled her plans to visit the Summer Palace. I have no time to react to any of this, at least not appropriately. As she speaks, the queen unceremoniously bursts from the litter of her own procession and proceeds to stride straight towards me. Every member of the court is forced to make way, and unlike with Shay, they do so with expedience. Likewise, once the queen reaches me, I'm rendered... I should have gotten Tori into this. Hold on. I have to show this lady to my girlfriend.
She's a redhead, she's got freckles. I'm fucking slain.
Whew, okay. I'm rendered completely helpless as she scoops my face into her hands and squishes my cheeks. Ah!
Oh, just look at you. So pale, so thin. Really, darling, what were you eating this whole time? Nuts? Berries off the forest floor?
Potatoes rotting in a field. Occasionally other people, but we won't go into that.
Say no more. The thought of it is simply too much to bear.
The queen suddenly wrenches me free, and I find myself stumbling backwards, in part due to the surprising amount of force behind the act, but also mostly out of flustered embarrassment. I think my whole face might be as rosy as her hair. Maybe Keegan wasn't lying before about the queen being distressed. Keegan, I ought to kiss you, or at the very least reward you for what you've done here today. Though I suppose I should hardly be surprised that our Master of Secrets would be the one to bring our dear, sweet, darling Dana home. Part and parcel to the territory, no? As the queen says this, I notice Shay running up behind her, their mouth agape. Though, strangely, despite how urgently they tried to alert the queen of my presence, they do not interject against the queen's assertion. Correct her. Too true, my queen, though actually it was Shay who found me. Yeah,
there we go. Give them some proper credit.
We like Shay. Shay's fun. We ran into Keegan along the way. Oh, is that so? Yes, though they were in quite the state when I crossed their paths. I thought it best not to parade the court druid through the throne room in rags. Quite. Well, you have my gratitude for your services, Sweet Pea. I shall inform your superior to ensure that you are appropriately rewarded. You may return to your post. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty. But...
Darling?
But... Was there something else?
Yes, Mum. Permission to escort the court druid back to their premises.
And if I may be so bold. May? That's a first. I think under present circumstances, someone ought to stand guard. At least for now, while it's still unsafe. I feel a chill run down my spine. Stand guard? How will I hope to get home then? After all, the unseelie... No.
What?
No, that will not be necessary. Return to your post. Shay, for a brief moment, stares at the queen with an irritated bewilderment best reserved for, well, anyone else. But ultimately, Shay... Claire de Lune? Nice. Ultimately, Shay just nods stiffly to Keegan and the queen and begins to walk away. This is Claire de Lune, isn't it? Do, 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 do. I mean, I could look it up and play it, but then it'd come over the... Anyway.
Thanks. See you around.
I swear I've been recognizing some of the other bits of music, but I can't really place any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how very exciting.
Your Majesty.
If you wouldn't mind. I have some important matters to bring to your attention. Developments in your absence, shall we say. Yes, of course, but later. Poor Dana looks exhausted. I simply must see them to their cottage first. Got a whole cottage? Ah, naturally. By all means, then. Shall we be off?
We? Oh, really now, Keegan? I can't say I'm surprised you'd set your sights on this one, but am I not entitled to a little time alone with them too?
Yes, you can leave now, Keegan. We have more important things to talk about. Girl, very pretty.
Very pretty.
Very pretty. For a brief moment, Keegan appears visibly surprised, but the expression's gone as quickly as it came.
I can't say I quite catch your meaning.
Shut up, Keegan. We're gonna go make out with the queen. I am but your humble servant, Aoife. Perhaps I merely wish to bask in your presence, engage in an intelligent conversation. No doubt, but there is no need to flatter me, Keegs. It's perfectly natural in my eye for you to be intrigued by our Daoine here. I imagine their disappearance was more than a little vexing to the Master of Secrets. If you insist. Keegan's eyes linger on me for a moment before he turns back to the queen and smiles.
Ah,
Well then, you know where to find me, so I shall take my leave. Keegan bows politely to us both, but before he goes, he catches my hand and places a kiss on my fingers. Good heavens.
Slán fall, Daoine.
Yep, slán go fóill. Okay, yeah, until we sure it doesn't really mean that. It's more like okay, so slán is just kind of used as goodbye, but its actual meaning is safety. So it's like it's be safe, basically. Oop. Incorrigible, that one. With that, the queen spins around and claps her hands together. The court will adjourn for today in light of newfound developments. As you were, gentrymen. There are a few grumblings from within the crowd, but with the queen's dismissal, most begin to filter out of the throne room, leaving me alone with her. Oh. I swallow. Gulp. Now, shall we be off? The queen looks at me expectantly. Panic! I stare at the queen a bit stupidly for a moment, unsure what I ought to do, or say, or go. I barely even know where I am, and the queen... Well, frankly, she's been acting like an absolute nutter. One minute she's practically sobbing over me, and then the next... Him? Huh? Ah. Yes, I panic. And in panicking, I waltz right up to the queen and extend my arm out to her, all genteel-like, but worse, with more jittering. Well, where to, ma'am? My, aren't we nervous? And bold. How
I can
quaint.
be bolder if you want.
I think she likes it. I think it's working. With that, the queen gingerly takes hold of my arm and leans over towards me, almost conspiratorially.
We are, of course, going to your house, silly goose. Has it been so long that you've forgotten the way?
I will go anywhere with you.
Well, no matter. Now that you've given yourself to me willingly, I shall oblige by directing you.
Wait, I might have made a mistake. Oh,
Nope, I didn't make a mistake.
thank you, your majesty. I screw my eyes shut and grimace. I want to curl into a ball and die. The queen, on the other hand, only laughs.
Goodness, were you always so amusing?
I want to curl into 2 balls and die from seeing here.
I'll have you know, I'm quite fond of conversation, so it won't do to have you so tongue-tied. Perhaps we ought to forgo formalities altogether.
Maybe you should untie my tongue.
Just call me Aoife, darling.
All right, Aoife. Much better. With that, Aoife leads me out of the palace. Into the gardens. Manum. Can't help but gasp. I've never seen such immaculate gardens. The flowers, the waterfalls, the pond. It's like something out of a picture book.
They are pretty.
The women.
No?
Mm-hmm.
I can never quite get used to it either.
Really? Didn't you grow up here? I bite my tongue. In hindsight, the question was a bit impertinent. Sometimes I forget how new you are. No, I didn't grow up here. I took my first walk through these gardens on the day of my coronation. I raised an eyebrow at her, a bit perplexed. I won't claim to be privy to the ways of royalty, let alone fairy royalty, but why wouldn't a princess be raised in the capital? Then... It is lovely out, though. Can you hear the birds chirping? She deflects. Say, I understand if you're too tired, but would you care to walk with me a little while longer? There's no need to rush back to your abode. I pause for a moment, thinking it over. I don't need to think it over. On one hand, the queen may very well just want to stroll with me, but on the other, can't get quite a proper read on her. She's certainly opulent and a touch melodramatic, but there's something else there behind the aristocratic smile. Something unpredictable. Something I can't quite place. I don't know if I can trust it. While I'm still acting as Daoine, it might be best to keep as low profile and avoid being alone with these people as much as possible. Then again, who am I to refuse the queen? Just give me a choice, but is it one, really? No, we're taking a walk, duh, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I rub my
It's
chin
date
for a
night.
moment. Yeah, exactly. Rub my chin for a moment, then sigh. Well, suppose I wouldn't mind taking the long way around.
Darling!
Wonderful. With a smile, Aoife proceeds to pull me down a winding garden path lined by great big bushes of flowers and wispy willow trees. A gentle wind stirs up all the smells into the air. As we pass the pond, I feel a cool mist against my skin. I feel remiss only calling it beautiful, but I'm no poet. Beautiful will have to suffice. Though, if I'm honest, I can't help but feel like there's something unnatural about it too. All the flowers seem so fresh, as though they all just bloomed today and would stay that way forever. Yes, almost. It's nothing like the flowers in Ireland, such fragile, imperfect things and so quickly gone. What are you thinking? I jump a little, jostled out of my thoughts by Aoife's question. As I go to meet her eye, I'm surprised by the way she's looking at me. It's almost sad, pitying maybe. Thinking? No, that doesn't sound right. I never do that. Your expression seems very solemn. Feeling homesick? I swallow, feeling a little color leave my cheeks. Daoine. The druids are not the only ones familiar with Driocht, magic. It's just the word for magic.
Driocht.
What I am thinking. Girl, pretty. This is true. I squint, a little confused. I'm not sure I understand. It's not a particularly well-kept secret that you wish to leave us, Daoine. And by your appearance, the change in your aura... You succeeded. You returned to Inish Fall. I take it was not quite what you were expecting, was it?
Truthfully, I sympathize. You were not Tuatha Danann. This was not supposed to be your home. And sometimes, longing for that which never was can be just as painful as longing for something lost.
But I digress.
Darling?
Fuck that, I'm staying here.
Never mind all that. I trust now that you've undergone this pilgrimage, you are here to stay. Yes? Stay silent. I know I can't tell her the truth. Not now, not this deep into my accidental deception. It would be too dangerous. The fair folk are an unpredictable sort, after all. But I can't bring myself to lie either. Find myself avoiding her eye. Well, even so. I must admit there is something on my mind, something I wanted to talk to you about specifically.
There is trouble in the air, Dana. More trouble than I'd care to entertain.
I raised an eyebrow. How do you mean? This was before your time, but I imagine the druids familiarized you with the War of the Courts well enough. It ended only 50 years ago. Half a lifetime to a human, I suppose, but not to us. Frankly, by the way some talk of it, the war never really ended. It only paused. In any case, I don't expect you've heard the news, have you? I find myself fidgeting anxiously, even though I have no possible idea what she's on about. Guess not. Just as well. Aoife pauses for a long moment. Her gaze drifts out over the pond, pensively watching as a bevy of swans bathe themselves under the waterfall.
Lugad, the traitor, is dead.
Oh. First king of the Unseelie is called the Traitor King by the Seelie Court.
I keep wanting to say it's Lugaiad.
He was a
Yeah,
miserable
Lugad
tyrant
would
well
be
past his due.
would be more correct.
If the gods had any sense in them, his soul would be left to wither and rot.
But after the war ended, Lugaj was left impotent and uninterested in furthering his ambitions. His son, however, is young and full of vigor. I see. So, what does that mean? It's too soon to be certain. But it is widely believed that the man is as much of a hot-headed fanatic as his father was. The court already whispers of war. This land has already seen far too much violence. Aoife grows quiet again, then looks at me expectantly. My throat dries as I rack my brain for anything useful, or even comforting to say to her. What do the Unseelie want? Well, what do the Unseelie want? Maybe there could be a peaceful solution? Oh, saying that out loud. I'm never getting into politics.
What do the Unseelie want? Darling, they want what everyone else in this wretched world wants. Power.
Yeah, fair enough. And power is not often peacefully begotten. Including yours? Man, we have no tact. Just saying shit, no filter. I bite my tongue as soon as the retort slips out, but Aoife only stares at me. A shiver rolls down my spine, as her eyes seem to watch my face closely. I try not to sweat too hard.
Well, I suppose it's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? But if you're asking, impertinently so, about the relative state of my hands, you'll find them far cleaner than most. Never forget that the Unseelie crown, such as it is, was won at the cost of blood-laden streets in every city, town, and village across Murias and Gorias. Any who dared to defy Lugad's brutish warlording was put to the sword.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I didn't mean... Aoife holds up her hand, silencing me. No, you're fine. I'm no lover of sycophancy, and do not wish to curtail your tongue. In fact, I'd like to do more stuff with it.
In the coming days, I may need your assistance. For the sake of the realm.
What? You sound so surprised. The druids have always been invaluable consultants to the kings and queens of the Tuatha, and, even in matters of war. But I'm just a human? Yes, well, I believe that's a good thing in this case. You've no stake in this fight. Your eyes are new, your perspective clear. I need someone around who isn't impeded by ulterior motives. I feel my heart thudding in my ears. I'm not sure what to say. Well, honesty is a becoming trait, and not one often shared among my court. If you can promise me your honest thoughts, I will expect no more of you. A twinge of guilt turns the inside of my stomach as I look over at the queen, who seems a good deal more honest herself than she had been before in the palace. It almost makes me wish I could stay and help, but I'm not Daoine. I have no business being here, and my own duties to care for. Still, I can't quite bring myself to disappoint her. I'll do my best, Miss Aoife. Really, you are too cute. Just Aoife, darling. All these misses and ma'ams make me feel old. I'm only 299 yet. She's young. Okay, now. Takes a considerable amount of effort not to let my mouth fall open. I mean, come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah, Usheen,
Have some confidence.
You know Usheen was stuck in Tir na Nog for 300 years and he barely noticed it. Well, I think I've held your ear long enough for now. Oh, but it is you with the long ears. Oh. Though I dare say this was rather enjoyable. We'll have to do it again, no? Yes. That would be nice, ma'am.
Oh, is that cheek I hear? Oh, I'll be sure to remember that. And I'll have you know, I can be quite mean when I want to be.
You're allowed to be. Mean?
That lip bite. Yep.
I just send in another screenshot to my girlfriend. I'm not certain what she means by that, but I have a feeling that pressing the point would put me in a precarious spot, so I don't. Well, another time. For now, let's get you home. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to not go to the next one.
That is perfectly fine.
Oh, what are we up to? 2.5 hours. Not bad. Oh, God. Okay. So we got to... Huh. No, is it just the first book?
Yeah, I think we're just the first book at the moment.
Fucking hell. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, alright. Still the first book. Okay. So, yeah, we're not getting through this thing tonight. Definitely not.
Nope, we're not.
Nope. Oh. I love this.
It's great.
It's so good.
They really did their homework, and I'm so happy they did.
We are gonna need to do this again soon.
Absolutely.
We can work out the finer details, but yeah, we're doing this again.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, that is gonna be it for me for today and this week. Let me see if I don't even know who would be on that I'd know at this hour.
Oh, I have someone if you want a suggestion.
Sure. I'm gonna have a quick look at who I've got on. Okay, hit me.
I'll do Yulia. She is playing King of the Castle right now.
Oh, okay.
They're also a very good bean of a VTuber.
They seem nice. All right, let's go say hi.
Yep.
Blap.
Aha.
Alrighties. Well, thank you for coming along for this, Morgan. Thanks for turning me on to this game as well. This is perfect.
Absolutely. It is a wonderful game, and I look forward to playing more of it with you.
So do I. I look forward to seeing more of the Queen.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. See you later. Bye-bye for now.